Hey there gang, Patrick King here, coming to you live from Seymour, Wisconsin, teaching here for the next couple days at Circle E Equestrian Stables here in Seymour, Wisconsin. Today's question comes to us from Debbie, and Debbie says, my 7-year-old mare sweats more on her right side than on her left. Is this a saddle fit issue, or is she working that side of her body harder? She shoulders out going to the left and shoulders in going to the right. So one of the things that I would have to say is this is impossible to answer as far as is it a saddle fit issue, only because I don't have, I don't have pictures, I don't have video, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know what your horse looks like in relation to the saddle, right? So that's a difficult thing to answer in that sense. But what we can talk about is what's taking place when one side of the body is sweating more than another. So again, in this question, I'm not really sure because specific details weren't necessarily given. I'm assuming we're meaning that she's sweating more under the saddle on the right side than on the left side. Maybe we're meaning the whole body, I don't know. Generally, what we want to keep in mind is that dry spots under a saddle are an indication of pressure, right? Contact. Lack of movement, therefore lack of blood flow, lack of production of sweat in the muscles that are under that dry spot, or those dry spots, depending on where we're at. So this is why we're always hoping for more of an even sweat pattern underneath our horse. Likewise, when we're working our horse, when we're riding our horse, if we're working him balanced and even, he should be sweating even on both sides of his body and over the entirety of his body if we're working all of the muscles of his body. Now, if we're working in some sort of a therapeutic situation where we're trying to isolate one piece of the horse's body, then we might see more sweat produced in that specific piece that we're trying to work over the rest of the body. And that would be how we'd know that we were keying into the right spot specifically. Or it'd be one of the ways, right, assuming that everything else was checking out. So when we talk about this as a saddle fit issue, again, it could be quite a few things. It could be that the saddle is not fitting correctly. It could be that the body, for some other reason, is not being properly used in that direction. One of the things I want to think about, this is a topic that comes up quite a bit, is what side of the body is actually stretching. So when we talk about a horse being stiff on one side or stiff to one side, those are kind of different terms, right? Oftentimes I have riders that'll take their horse, say, to the right, and they'll say, well, my horse is stiffer to the right, when in reality the stiffness is on the opposite side. Okay, so did a little diagram here for everybody. So we've got our horse here bent in this arc, okay? So what we would think about is what side of our horse's body is actually stretching in this arc, and that's going to be the outside of the body. Okay, so if I were riding this horse, I would say that I were riding on a circle to the right, on an arc to the right, okay? And this is where a lot of times we'll have riders say, well, my horse is stiffer to the right. Really, he's stiffer on the left side, and he has a hard time stretching that left side, so it shows up going to the right, okay? So this is something to think about. So the question would be, underneath this saddle that Debbie's talking about, the horse is stretching more on the right side than on the left side. So depending on the angle there, we want to think which side of that horse's body is not working, potentially working properly, and it sounds like that would be the left. It sounds like the left side of that horse's body is not working properly, is potentially stiff in that situation. So again, is it a saddle fit issue? I don't know. That's worth looking into. It's worth looking into maybe changing saddle pads, getting a saddle fitter out to take a look at the horse. It's also worth thinking, is the horse moving through the rest of the body evenly left to right? Is the left hind leg tracking under the body equally as the right hind leg is? Is the even bend through the spine generally even, right? Bend through the spine the same left versus right. So, we could talk about it being a saddle fit issue, and yes, that is potential, but there's also a lot of other factors that could be at play there as well, that range from potential dental issues to potential farrier hoof imbalances that your farrier might need to take a look at. So it's a really hard question to answer without seeing videos and photos of actually what's taking place. So to me, this is a clear case of a couple pieces of information are not enough to totally give an answer or a prescription, basically, as to what the problem might be. So we need to look a little farther. And again, this is where it's important to have kind of a large team for you and your horse. We're talking dentists and farriers and vets and body workers and saddle fitters and all those sorts of things. So Debbie, if you could send me some video footage and some photos of the sweat patterns and things like that, that would be helpful. I could probably give you a better answer based on that information. So hopefully this information has been helpful to some of you as far as diagnosing potential problems, or maybe it hasn't been helpful, but maybe it's opened your eyes onto the potential avenues to look into when it comes to diagnosing potential problems. So if this has been helpful, please like and share the video for me, please. If you have any friends that you think might need to hear this information or it might be helpful to them, please tag them in the comments section below this video. So that's going to lead us to the question of the day. Question of the day. We're talking about potential saddle fit issues. How does your saddle fit your horse? When you're talking about sweat patterns, do you have an even sweat pattern? Do you have dry spots to the front, to the middle, to the back of your saddle? Let me know. Let me know if you've had any saddle fit issues in the past and how you've dealt with those. Put your answers to that in the comments section below this video here. Don't forget, gang, you keep asking questions and I'll keep talking about horses. Thanks.